Hey, what's up, guys and gals? I wanted to really. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I love this video, and I wanted to do like a play-by-play kind of analyze this video. And yeah, it's a World War II every day with army sizes. It's a really popular video. A lot of people have done reaction videos to this, but I want to kind of walk you through it and tell you what's going on to the best of my knowledge. It'll be a challenge for me too. That's why I'm doing it. So let's start. So we start
This
September
morning,
1939.
the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating that
So Germany invades Poland. They sign a non-aggression pact with the USSR, and the USSR invades Poland from the other side while Germany is invading from the west. USSR comes from the east, and they split it, and they sign a non-aggression pact.
That no such undertaking has been received.
They don't plan on. Stalin is pretty sure that Hitler will never invade him, and now the Winter War begins, as you can see up here in Finland. And the Soviet Union is going to fight, and they're going to take a lot of losses in this battle. And the Finns are going to fight really well. They're going to have superior tactics and superior weaponry. The Russian military is really not as great as it will be in about 3 years, 4 years. And the Finns hold off the Soviets, but they eventually capitulate, and they end up giving up quite a bit of territory. But they end the war. And at least for the first part of the Winter War is over. Now, Britain and France make a formal agreement that they're going to fight the Nazis together. Now, the Nazis invade. The Allies preemptively invade Norway, and they try to prevent the Axis, the Germans, from invading. But the Germans just come in and annihilate them and take over Norway. And then, of course, this is the Battle of the Maginot Line right here. Once the Maginot Line is broken, that's it. It's over for France. The Maginot Line was designed to defend France against anything, and the Germans broke through that easily, led by Commander Erwin Rommel and the 7th Panzer Division.
Which I do not for a moment believe
and the Blitzkrieg
this island
tactics,
or a large part of it was subjugated.
Now, during all this time, the Luftwaffe and the British Air Force, the Royal Air Force, are fighting over the English Channel.
Until in God's good
and
time,
Luftwaffe is under the
the new
command
world,
of Hermann
with all
Goering.
its power and might, stepped forth
Hitler's
to the
number
rescue
two,
and
actually the number 2
liberation
man in the
of
Nazi
the
Party, Reichskanzler Hermann Goering, head of the Luftwaffe. He was a pilot in World War I, actually. And now Mussolini tries to invade Greece, which doesn't make Hitler very happy, according to the histories that I've read, and made him very angry. And yeah, Mussolini fails to invade Greece and conquer Greece, and instead Hitler sends German troops to. They eventually annex Yugoslavia, capitulates.
Never
Romania
in the
capitulates.
field of human conflict was so much
The plans for
by
Operation
Soviets.
Barbarossa are being, made now
all our hearts
during all
go
this
out
time,
to the
and they're
fighter
about to
pilots
launch Operation
whose brilliant
Barbarossa
actions
pretty
received
soon. They're starting to
with our
line
own
up
eyes
tanks
day
all
after
along the
day.
border of Russia,
hope
and
Indeed,
Stalin
I
is
pray
being warned
that we shall not
time
be
and time
found
again.
unworthy of our
People
victory
are telling him
if
the
after
Germans are
toil
going to
and
invade.
tribulation
They're setting
we
up
grant
tanks
it.
all along the border,
For the
and
rest,
Stalin says no.
we
They're
have to
just
gain
trying to provoke us.
That's
They're just trying to provoke us. This is all bullshit. Hitler will never invade the USSR. And obviously he was wrong, as we're about to see. Now the army's building up. And in these battles down here, this is all for oil and resources in the Middle East. They have oil down here, and oil in North Africa and Middle East. Now Operation Barbarossa starts, and the Germans shred through the USSR defenses, especially Army Group North. You have Army Group North, Army Group Center, Army Group South for the Germans, and they just completely catch Russia totally off guard because Stalin did not believe that Hitler would invade. And he really did not put that much emphasis on defense, planning for an invasion. And this is what happened. You know, look at that. Over 500,000 people encircled, captured, probably annihilated. This happens all over the map, constantly. Another 663,000 encircled. 30,000 encircled. Now you got Finland again. Finland and Germany fighting against the USSR. So they're kind of fighting on two fronts, but it's not really that big of a deal for them. Now what Germany wants to avoid, of course, is fighting a war on two fronts. And now, since Japan just bombed the United States.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
And that will be a massive turning point in the war, because now the United States is involved. The United States and their economy and their factories are starting to boom, and they're starting to make weapons and tanks and planes, and they're starting to gather intelligence on Germany. Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, obviously good friends, keeping in contact. Also, you notice during all this time, Spain and Portugal are neutral during this entire war. They never get involved. And it turns out Franco, who was in power in Spain, he actually was pretty cool with Hitler. Didn't have a problem with Hitler. And President Salazar, who was the president for Portugal during this time, he was actually funding Germany. He was giving money to Germany, to Berlin, to pay for their war effort, to help them fight the war. So that's a whole nother video. And very interesting story, very interesting part of history, why Portugal and Spain were neutral during World War II. That's a very interesting aspect of this whole period of history. Now you see Germany is pretty much taken over all of Western Europe, except for Spain and Portugal. And now, of course, the Allies invade North Africa. Rommel, who blitzkrieg through France, was put in as supreme commander in North Africa forces, and all the priorities are on Operation Barbarossa. So Rommel knows he's not getting any reinforcements. He's not getting any ammunition, supply lines. So he was suspensed, and he becomes part of the plot to kill him. Apparently, and he commits suicide to save his family. You can learn a lot about Erwin Rommel. Just Google him. It's a fascinating story. He's actually talked about in the military all around the world, Erwin Rommel, and his tactics and how he was the good Nazi, as they say. But so yeah, Operation Barbarossa. As everybody knows, the winter. Obviously, the Germans had a really hard time with the winter. The tanks were not operating. They had horses. They had almost 1 million horses or so. I believe 600,000 horses were part of this invasion. And obviously, the Russians are better suited to fight in the cold and this temperature. And the Germans are going to lose. The Battle of Stalingrad is going to be a massive thing. Hitler could have gone south and tried to take the ports down south instead he went for Stalingrad because it was called Stalingrad. It's Stalin's name, and it would have been symbolic, but he failed, or they failed. And now the Allies invade Italy, and they reinstall Mussolini, actually. Mussolini was captured by the Allies, and the Germans actually go and rescue him and then reinstall him as a leader, but he's nothing like he was before, and nobody really has any faith in him, and it's a complete disaster. He ends up being dragged in the streets and being beaten to death, and his body is, and him and his wife's bodies were both hanged in the public square for everybody to see. It was a very humiliating end for Mussolini, and I think Hitler saw that, and he said, that's not going to happen to me, and it's just why we've never found Hitler's body, because he saw what happened to Mussolini, and he said, that's not happening to me. Maybe if he gave Mussolini some of those cyanide capsules, it would have ended better for him, but that's not how it happened. So now Romania capitulates and becomes part of the Soviet Union, starts fighting against the Germans. Well, when just a year ago they were part of the German army and German forces.
Soldiers,
now, of course,
sailors, and airmen
summer
of the Allied
1944,
Expeditionary
which
Force.
means
You are about to
Operation
embark upon the
Overlord,
great
the D-Day
crusade
invasion.
toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you.
Well, Army Group Center
The
in
hopes and prayers
Russia
of
is
liberty-loving
crushing,
people everywhere
pushing
march
through.
with you. In company with our
Somewhat
brave
at a
allies
standstill
and
here.
brothers in arms
Now
on other fronts,
Germany's in big trouble.
you will bring about the destruction of the
They
German
have-
war machine, the elimination
They
of
have the
Nazi
United States,
tyranny over the
Canada,
oppressed
and
peoples of Europe,
France,
and
and the
security
United
for
Kingdom
ourselves in a free
invading
world.
Normandy Beach. They storm Normandy, they take over, it takes a few weeks. They eventually liberate Paris, and they liberate France. And now Germany is surrounded, and they're fighting the war on two fronts, or three fronts, if you will. They're fighting from the south, too. And Berlin is turned into basically a military base. The entire city of Berlin is a military base, and they are just basically fighting to the death, to the last bullet. Is the command I believe Hitler gave. We'll fight till you run out of ammunition. And it says here Hitler left his headquarters in Prussia. He used to go to the Obersalzberg, the Bergdorf in Obersalzberg, where he would spend his summers. That's where he planned Operation Barbarossa, at the Obersalzberg. It was his getaway place where he would go and look at the mountains and see nature and just get away from being Adolf Hitler. And yeah, now Germany's completely surrounded by both sides, and the United States and UK agree, and France, they actually all agree to let the Soviet Union take Berlin, so they slow their advance. So the Allies, who are in the blue, the Allies could have taken Berlin. They could be moving much faster, but they are going to slow their advance to allow Russia to capture Berlin, because they have taken the most casualties in this war, and it's the most personal to them. And now the war's over. Hitler allegedly commits suicide, and that's the end. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought.